Amy, how hard can this be?
It's hard. It's a very
I'm sorry, I
small
believe in
bottle.
you.
Do
Leave
it.
me alone, I can't see anything.
I believe in you, Amy.
My eye hurts.
You can't see how to open the bottle, and that's what's stopping you.
I mean, it doesn't tell me which way to turn it. It just says to turn.
You always turn bottles one way, Amy. Everything on this planet functions lefty-loosey, righty-tighty.
No, that's a lie. How could you say such things?
I'm trying to make her feel bad.
That's false, because this one actually turned left. It just stopped.
That's the baby lock kicking in.
Leave me alone. I have stupid tiny hands.
If you ever think to search up degloving for whatever reason, you're ever curious because you see something online, don't. Just don't.
I'm a fucking
disgusting.
strong bitch.
You did it?
You did it finally?
Did you break the bottle in half?
Yeah, just break it on the side of the table.
I slapped it against the desk a few times.
Oh, good. Okay.
I broke it, but it works.
I have the eye drops now.
It's like you just put it above your head, open up your eye, and just rip it in half.
I don't actually know how to put these in my eye.
Oh.
Well,
it's like I did it.
Another half hour.
Now what? Run.
I think I got some of that in my eye.
Like the empty bottle, one hand.
It's like
your eyes covered with the other. Like, wait, was I supposed to do this eye or the other eye?
I'm just like, how close am I supposed to get this to my face? I just put it in my eye.
No, just like it's like the empty eye drop bottle in one hand. Her body's just like soaking wet, and like her eyes completely dry.
Yeah, my face is dry, and no other part of my body is.
Yeah, it's like a completely like a 5-gallon bucket was dumped on you. Yes. Eye drops, and none of it got in your eye.
So, welcome to Your Brain on Games.
You did not just start it.
Well, I hit the record button like 15 minutes ago, just in case someone...
Are you fucking kidding me?
How much of that are you planning to keep in? Let's be honest here.
I don't know. I most of that complaining how
you doing eye drops.
Yeah, it's just me complaining for 10 minutes how I can't open a baby lock, even though I'm...
I just need you to forever always start the podcast early.
Yeah.
Because that never gets old to me. Oh my God.
It's just like, wait, please, no.
Wait, what?
Wait, no, please.
What have I just been saying for the past 13 minutes? I have no clue.
Do we need to censor ourselves?
I just gotta walk into a conversation that Bronson and Alex are having, like, by yourself. I'm like, hi, and welcome to Your Brain on Games.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Just like panic instantly shoots through both of us.
It's like, oh yeah, dude, we had really deep like psychological debate about like our inner thoughts and stuff. All of a sudden you're like, hey guys, welcome to Your Brain on Games.
I've been recording for 2 hours.
No, just like you say something really weird and gross, like I think I just found a wart on the bottom of my foot. Welcome to Your Brain on Games.
Honestly, I could see us doing that as like a joke intro at one point.
At one point.
Okay, right now.
You know, I feel like I have problems with women because I never got along with my mother. Hi, and welcome.
I just got out of jail. Now I'm on parole. Welcome to Your Brain Games.
Like, hey guys, just got back from my grandma's funeral. Going through a pretty hard time right now. Welcome to Your Brain on Games today.
You know, not to get controversial, but like, I don't think that like.
Do you want to finish this?
I was trying to think of a game that that people love that I haven't already insulted, and I don't think there are any of them. To say like Melee's not a good game, like no, I've said that several times.
Yeah, that was the whole episode.
God.
You know, I actually think that like Logan Paul may have some like good qualities.
No, you cannot start that.
Hello and welcome to Your Brain on Games.
And then I immediately give.
Just everyone. Our videos get taken down.
Negative 500 views.
That was our intro. I'll start it with all of this instead of the thing about me trying to put eye drops in my eye for 2 hours.
Wonderful.
No, you have to do the eye drop thing, otherwise it won't make sense.
Okay. Okay, I'll put a little bit of that in.
Yeah, a little bit at least.
Just
Just like the
last.
little bit of eye drops you put in.
Yay.
Yes.
We all know that there are only 2 people watching these anyway, so it's fine.
Thank you, Dylan.
Thanks.
Shout
Who's the
out,
other
to
one?
our,
Drop him.
shout out to our sponsors, Dylan and Audible.com.
Right now, you're gonna get a special sale with the code Your Brain on Games.
With the code Your Mom Gay.
Amy, have you shown Alex that video?
What video?
Audible.com from?
Oh yeah. No, I haven't.
Yeah.
I'll do it out.
Good.
Yeah. Oh no.
Freaking JonTron.
Oh god, we don't talk about him here. This is the holy
We
place.
don't mention him here anymore.
But he's funny.
There will be there has to be an entire episode dedicated to me talking about how much I hate games.
We'll do gamers and gaming. Just gaming reactions. Gamers
react.
Your Brain on Games reacts to gamers.
No.
It's a bunch of Kotaku articles.
We need to do a response video to a response video to a response video to Logan Paul.
Oh, Lord. That's like the your grandmother from old email stuff.
Yes.
It's like, oh, my grandma sent me this funny video 17 years ago.
17
I've been
years
sharing
ago.
it ever since.
Mom, why do you sound like you're 89?
Because I am.
Your grandmother is 286 years old.
You live a long time.
We're in a family of immortals, actually.
She sent it to your great grandmother. She sent that to your great grandmother.
They're
What's the
17.
Yeah, but what's the video?
It's just like a
It's not
cat.
a video. It's an image of a video.
It says click here for a free iPhone S.
Yeah. There's like a play button on the image of the win the free iPhone.
It's like a printout of like a YouTube link.
No, it's a screenshot of another computer screen of a person's email with the link to an ad that gives you.
That has to be a thing, like trying to remove something from its medium as far away as you can.
Possible.
Yes.
Like
Dadaism,
publishing a book
but,
about
like,
an image that was in a computer that was on someone's phone that was originally made in 1973.
That was written out in base 24.
in Braille. Are we gonna do the intros, or are we just gonna spend the whole episode being funny men?
That's a good question.
I like that those two things are like mutually exclusive. Be funny or introduce yourself.
There is no video games in this episode. It's all jokes.
All jokes.
Welcome to Joke Man.
God.
Yeah. Hello. I'm Alex.
Someone else.
Also known as. Frick, I had funny. Oh yeah, the person who delays us for recording for a whole day.
Wigs.
Nice.
Hey, wings. Worth it.
My name is Bronson Hunt, also known as the guy with 6 nipples under my stomach.
That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
That's a straight up fact.
Are they just independent nipples? They're not like attached to anything?
Yeah, no breasts. Like one's two of them are on my sides, one's on my back.
Are they like nubs, like Ross Geller's?
Yeah, they get hard.
They're like weak points for your final boss battle.
Yes.
That's where you get critical hits on them.
Yeah, when your defense falls, that's where you have to attack.
God.
They light up.
They glow bright blue in the night.
Oh God. What kind of surgery did you have?
My name's Amy. I have very weak fingers, so I can't open jars on my own.
Jars. Or
Yeah,
eye drops.
I can't open eye drops. I almost couldn't open my drink just now.
It's like, it wasn't even like a tab or anything. It was literally like one of those things on top of a yogurt.
Yeah, I have a lot of trouble with those two, actually. My fingers are useless.
Aww.
I have stupid baby hands.
Go strengthen your fingers.
So today we're
Feminism
talking
will never
about...
work because women have tiny, frail hands. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, let's just be let's assume everything about the opposite gender.
Yeah.
I can say whatever I want about women.
Yeah, okay.
I
Yeah,
am
you're
women.
fair. You're valid in that point.
All women are queens. That's fact.
If she breathes, she's a thought.
All women are queens.
Yeah, but we're talking
Say
about
yes.
characters today.
Oh, are we? Okay.
Yeah.
I think.
Are we gonna be doing that today? I forgot.
I didn't actually remember. I was
No.
just sitting over here with some garlic bread.
We're super professional.
Yeah, a
We know
little
what we're
bit.
doing.
I don't. I almost fell asleep like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, we were there.
Was that already 20 minutes ago?
Probably longer than that.
Oof,
Like a good hour.
Ow.
man.
Holy shit, this garlic bread is thick.
We sometimes talk about games on this podcast.
Apparently, it's just mostly garlic bread today.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
Today we're going to discuss the character design of Amy's garlic.
So far, it's subpar, a little too thick.
A little bit.
Not enough
salt.
character development.
Alex, please go first.
Oh, okay. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Borderlands 2 and some of the characters in that, since Borderlands 2 is a very good game. And one of the characters I knew you guys would probably enjoy quite a bit. Let's see if I can find an image. This is a bad one, but whatever. So my description for this character would be a mix of a stereotypical like 10-year-old girl with like tea parties and stuffed animals, mixed with Junko from Danganronpa.
Oh,
Tiny Tina. So this character is basically an insane demolitions expert, like the best in the whole entire planet, and has some of the best character design of I guess any child in any game. That's okay. That's a pretty weird thing to say.
the best
gonna
looking
take that
child
back.
I've ever seen.
She looks a bit busy.
Yeah, but like I figured you guys would like her since she likes explosions and stuff. And Borderlands
I love her
2,
already.
yeah, a lot of the Borderlands 2 characters, they do this style really well. They have a lot of the character designs that are really unique and interesting. A lot of the characters, all their dialogue, good God, is amazing. There's like two other ones I'll talk about quickly, but I just wanted to share Tiny Tina, Claptrap, and Handsome Jack, because those three I think are the most.
Oh, I know
standout.
Handsome Jack. He wears
Yeah,
a mask because his face.
His
Let me
face.
pull up a
His face
picture of
ugly.
him.
His face.
I mean,
his
he
real
wears-
face is fugly as shit.
yeah, he wears a mask of his own face, so I don't quite know how that works.
Mood.
How do I copy image?
Is
there?
it like actually like
Control C,
a part like?
Alex.
Is Handsome Jack's face like just actually a mask? Because it looks like it's like bolted down.
Well, I think the lore behind it is that he had a normal face at one point, and it got like exploded. So he put a mask of his own face and it like stapled it on his face.
This looks like
Lovely.
Inspector Cabanella. Have you really?
Don't say that.
I don't see the similarities. I'm gonna be honest.
God, this guy looks like Larry Butts.
Also true.
Whoa.
He's got the soul patch.
Alex, can I ask you a stupid question?
Yes.
What is Borderlands 2?
Okay. So I'm glad you
What's
asked.
this game about?
Yeah, Borderlands
really don't
2
know.
is a first-person shooter
Okay.
with very low gravity,
Oh,
and like
What
the
do I
whole
have?
point of the
floaty.
game. Yeah, it's like a story-based shooter where you go through like this whole entire like bandit town, like this whole entire bandit planet, I guess, and you try to stop Handsome Jack from opening the vault, which has a bunch of treasure in it, and also a terrible monster that could like destroy and rule the whole entire universe.
Hmm.
So
it's Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door.
yeah, basically. Give or take, all the guns.
Wait, that was synchronized. Never mind.
Yeah, get it right.
Sorry.
But
All the Thousand-Year Door fans are now coming to break our doors down.
Oh
Well,
no!
about time.
All the basement dwellers are killing me.
wow, we are going to get killed, aren't we?
So
Kill me
salty.
first, you fucking cowards.
Let's see. Melee, Paper Mario.
Melee.
I love Super Smash Brothers Melee.
That's how you get killed first.
Melee, Paper Mario.
Super Mario. My favorite game.
I actually had a moment there where I flashed back to being a child and like trying to pronounce the name on the box and saying Melee.
Mood.
I mean, I guess.
I'm hungry. I want to play Super Smash Brothers Melee. Sorry, please continue. I'm distracted.
No, it's fine. You eat mushrooms in that game. That's a food.
Consume.
That's a food.
Yep.
You eat it. Can I be real with you?
Yeah.
Maybe it's because you only sent a picture of like the top half of her body, but I don't actually like that design very much at all.
Of Tiny Tina?
No.
I mean, yeah, that's fair.
I mean,
I just like how unique all of them are. Because,
well, yeah. I guess.
like, the main, like, idea behind Borderlands is that pretty much everyone is insane and doesn't really care much for human life.
It's like Mad Max.
Yeah. Like, it's literally
okay.
the game is Mad Max.
Mad
You ride around with cars. You
Mad
get
Max Fury Rush.
like the gun shop salesman, like the first cutscene you see of him is a dude going up to him like, hey, my gun isn't working, I want a refund. So he grabs the gun from him, like the gun salesman does, shoots the dude in the leg. It's like, oh, it works fine. Hands the gun back to him.
Jesus. Okay then. Wow. That's very good.
Yeah. So all the characters are about that insane.
Can I mention something?
Yes.
I think the art style is reminding me of the the Walking Dead series.
Yeah.
Is this made by the same people?
I mean, they did make a Telltale Borderlands game, which was actually pretty good.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's not the same people. It's just the cell shaded or the outline border style of
Comic booky.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot of shooters tend to do that like thick outline comic booky thing.
Yeah, I think this was the first game to do it. Either that or Telltale, but I'm pretty sure both of these are probably out around the same time.
Okay.
Someone's probably going to kill me over that being wrong, but
Yeah.
How dare you? How dare you not know everything about things?
yeah.
How dare
I
you?
mean,
You call
Maybe
yourself
we
a
should do
fan?
research before we record these, but like whatever.
Yeah, I'm
See?
starting to think about that as I go through the characters I wanted to talk
See,
about.
when we started this podcast, I was like, I should totally do that. I need to write down notes and get links and stuff. And nope.
No, whatever.
Well, who needs that?
Who needs
I mean, whatever. The point of this is that we're just having fun. Like, neither.
that? Yeah, we're just talking about shit we like.
I don't even think either of you like look at the view count or anything. So like,
Oh, I do.
oh, do you?
I like the first couple of videos I would refresh and like, I hope we get a comment at some point. There's like 2 refreshes, like, well, it's been a week.
Love us.
I genuinely can't like bring myself to care. This is just a really awesome way to spend my afternoon, honestly.
I mean, yeah, I'll agree with that.
Yeah. Like no, whenever I see the video, I'm just like, oh, 2 views. Well, geez, I hope everyone else isn't saddened by that.
No, I got over that phase in my life back when I did shitty Let's Plays. So now I'm like,
Now you're like, well, that's pretty good today.
Yeah. Good job.
we made a thing.
I'm mostly happy that we're doing this.
We're
This is
having
fun.
fun.
It is. It's a nice bit of structure to my life
I'm
when I'm
glad
not
being
sleeping.
included.
Yay.
I gotta say though, I don't think you know the answer to this, but do you know like why a lot of modern shooters have been taking inspiration from like very comic book looking styles?
That's a good question. I would
Like
assume it's
outlines
just
and stuff?
yeah, I'm assuming it's just kind of the style that caught on for a while. Because I
Yeah.
know Borderlands is like, if people say like a good first person shooter, a lot of people go like, oh yeah, Borderlands, I love that game. It's such a good time. And then ever since Telltale took off like to the big leagues with a lot of mediocre games, it's like, I'm just assuming a lot of people are like, oh yeah, I know that style. It's really good. Let's make a game with it.
I think it's a revival. I used to watch Linkara, so I should know the artist that I'm thinking of. But like, I'm pretty sure this is like a revival of some like specific artist style where it's like a really gritty, like drawn really quickly with pencils and markers and inked
Oh, really?
really fast. But yeah, it lent itself to this really like dirty art style, like things like Tank Girl, stuff like that.
Oh, okay.
And
Yeah.
it's like a revival of that style into other forms of media. Like you can see that in movies a lot of the time now. Like Suicide Squad was the last big one that did that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think not Mad Max. God, what was it? Sin City. Sin City is like a classic example of that. Like
Yeah, I think
everything's
I've
black and
seen-
white. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think they're starting to use it now because it's becoming the the kitschy in thing again.
Yeah, and it does
Yeah.
look good. You can't deny that.
Yeah.
'Cause I know there's, well, I suppose it's
No,
a
I
preference.
I can get into it. Like
I like it more
um,
realistic graphics, at least.
the style of that's the thing, right? I don't mind realism in my games, right? Like in terms of the art style, visually, I don't mind that at all. And in fact, when I play games or see games like this, I eventually my mind just like removes the style in its entirety. Like I don't think about it at all. So I can say that it would be a good middle ground for people like that. So like you can get into it. The graphics aren't the best, but that's because it's purposeful. There's a style to it, and it's gritty enough to blend into realism.
Yeah, I could see that. As long as you create a cohesive world and stuff fits in, it usually looks good.
Yeah,
I think my thing is I've never really been a fan of like the really. This is weird for me to say because I sort of draw like that. The really thick, like outlined 3D models with like this sort of like cross shading on like the face and stuff. Like it's very apparent in that the image of the dude you just sent. Like you could see on his face. Like all
yeah.
the are very apparent.
You know what it reminds me of? You know those like really bad, like easily made fourth party like racing games that have really like shitty images in the GUI like surrounding it. Like it's always just like a really thick outline of what was clearly somebody's like first 3D class model.
Yeah.
And the lighting is all like sharp on one side and then there's a behind glow on the other.
I
Well, I
hope
wouldn't
you
say
realize
that's
you're
that
talking
bad.
about my model right now that I'm working.
No, Alex, yours is actually good.
No, Alex. you're
Not the
valid.
lighting. I can guarantee that.
Well, oops. But no, it's just like I don't think it's bad. I just for some reason, whenever I see this like comic book sort of flat looking style, it for some reason registers as like a cop out for stylism because so many people do it to make their game look stylized. Like
Yeah.
that at this point it just sort of blends together for me. I'm like, oh look, here's another one. Oh, it's probably a shooter. Yeah, okay.
I think it
Like,
mostly
it's either
caught
like a
on
shooter
from,
like based on like superheroes or like
uh,
comic book inspiration. I don't know. I mean, it's fine. It's better than a lot of things I've seen. I just don't like it in terms of like stylization and 3D models. Sorry.
yeah. I think you also have to keep in consideration, like whether or not something was like the first to use its style.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm pretty sure Borderlands was like still, like I said earlier, one of the first for the style, and you can still dislike it, but I still think it's important to realize that there's a lot of games copying it because this game did it well.
Yeah.
But
Or
I think
it did
it's
it
less that like I see it a
first.
lot and more that just I don't like when
You don't
art
like.
styles of people, where they like shade with like dark blacks. It sort of
Oh,
looks
yeah.
dirty to me.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yeah,
of art
it's-
styles like that too, and I can see where people would like it. I've just never been a fan of it personally, so that's more my thing.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. Yeah, especially since I think when I've been messing around with game design stuff, like making a black outline like that, super easy to do, but no one ever puts any effort into it, so it looks really
Yeah.
bad in most games.
Of course.
It takes tons of effort to do shaders like that correctly. It's
Yeah.
good lord. Shaders are nice, but I hate them at the same time, and I love them.
I mean, no one
It's a
likes
love-hate.
shading ever.
Ever. 2D, 3D, doesn't matter. No one likes shading.
It makes it look nice. Doesn't mean it's a fun time.
No.
I asked again, or I don't know what I'm saying, but you said you liked the little girl's Tina, whatever her design.
Can we change the context of that? You like a little girl.
You liked the child.
God. So Alex,
No.
I heard you like the child in this game. Hmm.
No, I'm sorry.
Can we delete
I
the
meant-
episode?
Can we veto this? The
Like the design of
you
the
said,
character
like,
Tina.
what do you like about her design?
Just because, well, I mean more of her characterization, because a lot of the characters, they're kind of like all in a gang or they're in like a rebel group to try to stop Handsome Jack from opening the vault, obviously. And there's a few characters that are not integral to like the main group of rebels, but they're still there. And those tend to be a lot more interesting than the main people you hang out with the most. Because I think for those groups, you have a dude that's just like really strong and he infiltrated like the enemies and it's like in charge of a bunch of them. You have a dude that flies a hawk around. That's his main, like, that's his best friend. And then you also have a person who can play with magic. And it's like they're all okay. But Tiny Tina is like the first person where it's like, okay, this is a character that's interesting that I haven't seen in other games before.
Okay.
They're just like a crazy child.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't get exposed to a lot of other games, so I'm
That's
guessing that's a little bit more overplayed.
that's fair. I don't know. I just when I asked that, I meant like her physical design, not her character.
Okay, her physical.
This was about like character design, so I would look at her. I'm like, personally, I think her thing's kind of busy. I don't really like
Yeah,
dark circles around her eyes. I think it's sort of weird.
Well, to be fair, when Alex presented the idea, he said characters and character design.
yeah.
Yes,
I was thinking more
like
of like
in
the
relation to each
character
other, that
behind
makes
this.
sense. But I specifically asked about like.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
design I think is all right. Like like you could change the character however you want. I don't think it would really matter too much. It's just I suppose some of her design makes sense though, considering she grows up around, I think this is the lore where it's like she grows up around like a city of like psychos is actually the name of like the Goomba version of the enemy in this game.
Psycho.
And they're literally just psychotic people who say like crazy stuff like I want to eat your babies.
Oh, you know how actual crazy people talk.
Yeah,
You know, totally real.
give me a bucket and I'll show you a bucket.
What?
That's yeah, they're good lines. The game has amazing dialogue. But like so she's kind of wearing some of the psycho clothing, I guess, because they're known for like the orange pants.
Mm.
That's kind of what she's wearing if I find a better image. That might be a good step one.
Yeah, a little bit. It's fine.
Let's see. There we go.
Again, her design reminds me a lot of those like again early comics where they tried to make it look as messy as possible on purpose.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good render of her. I like that.
Yeah, that's how she'd look in
yeah,
game.
that's better than the image you sent of like her.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
it's mostly just they're like I enjoy the conversations of this game a lot more and like the actual designs of the characters. Like the
Mhm.
style's fitting for the type of gameplay because the whole thing's like going around, killing stuff, looting it, getting better weapons, selling your old ones, getting better loot, farming for more guns. It's nothing super interesting, but it has enough gameplay to it to keep it interesting for a while
Hmm.
until you get to like new game plus. And it's like, okay, great. All the enemies automatically level up to like 3 times more than me. It takes like 200 bullets to even damage them slightly. I've been out of rocket launcher ammo for 3 days.
Oh Jesus! I'm sorry. I'm still staring at this dead bunny apron she's wearing.
Yeah,
It's cute.
like, let me pull up some lines for her because that's the best part of the game. Because like one of her side missions that she has you do, because the whole game basically plays like an RPG with you leveling up and doing quests for people and doing like fetch missions and all that stuff.
Hmm.
I forgot where I was going with that.
Oh, oops.
Well, wait,
Wait, it's coming back.
no, it's gone. Lines. That's what I was trying. I was trying to figure out what's the things are called where the conversation stuff.
Quotes, lines.
Oh yeah, but like one of her missions is literally going around, getting her stuffed animal from a bunch of mutated bugs, coming back, having a tea party with her, getting a bandit from a nearby city to come over to get trapped, put in an electric chair. She has a tea party with this person, then reveals that this bandit apparently sold out her parents, which got them killed, and then electrocutes the dude to death and laughs the whole time.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, no, that sounds like my kind of character. Oh.
Yeah, here's a line Amy will appreciate. This is why I figured you might like the character.
That's mood.
That's mushy snuggle bites by Donkadonk. She's my main squeeze. Lady's got a gut full of dynamite and a booty like pow.
She literally straps rockets to stuffed animals, and this is the context of that quote.
Great.
Wow.
And just one more here.
I looked up her voice actress in Google. It's Ashley Birch, who was the voice actor for Chloe from Life is Strange.
Really?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, that game had
That's
great
hilarious.
voice acting, didn't it?
Yes.
Ooh.
Ooh.
That's another game that actually has this art style, isn't it? Life is Strange with like.
Yeah, I suppose it's one of those like choose your own adventure.
Yeah, yeah.
I hate how that
Telltale
game
style.
looks. We're gonna talk about that one.
For another time.
It's another episode.
I don't have a lot of feelings on Life is Strange. It's just the fact that it's bad. There you go.
I mean, I haven't watched anything with it in a while. I used to watch a playthrough of it, but it was like so hard to keep up with that kind of stuff.
I watched like part of it, but like all the dialogue is so weird and like I just don't care.
The art style in Life is Strange is kind of similar. It doesn't have the thick outlines. It's
yeah, it's just it's got like the interior stuff.
Yeah.
I suppose there's no way to like if you want to
Sort
have
of muggy Photoshop art texture.
Oh, yeah, I could see that.
Yeah.
I
Sorry,
think
go ahead.
it's just like that visual novel kind of style game because that's basically what it is. There's not a whole lot of gameplay to it.
Yeah.
Being
Okay.
honest here.
We're being honest here.
But it's like, yeah, you're not gonna do like full 3D models for a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, that's weird. It
really is like seeing it on a normal person face.
I mean, some of the cosplays that people do of Borderlands stuff is pretty interesting. Like you can tell it takes a while, but
Yeah.
Tiny Tina definitely not a good cosplay one.
Not something you want to go outside the house in.
Yeah, if you see some psycho ones, people do really good psycho ones.
Mhm.
That's like the main thing that everyone like can recognize from Borderlands.
Mm. I have a question I want to ask you, Alex. And I don't know if you would know this any better than anyone else that I know.
Yes.
Do you ever like see designs for characters in games, or maybe when you're designing characters yourself?
Like I do that. You guys are the
just
ones
in
who-
general, yeah. But like, is there ever an issue you find where characters work from one angle but not from any other angle whatsoever? Or to reverse that, a character whose design clearly works from one angle, but at any other angle, it just looks kind of off. In this case, like Tiny Tina, where that render of her looked very good because her head is up and her hair is done a certain way and her clothes are out a certain way. But on that splash image of her, she kind of looks a bit bleh.
I mean, that's how pretty much everything goes. You look at yourself in a mirror from an angle. It looks weird. You can't really do anything about that.
That's a bit more existential than...
Right.
Characters.
I mean, nothing's gonna look perfect from every angle unless you stretch it weird.
Yeah, I think that's just a general thing that'll happen with most games. Is like, I mean, you can do full 3D models and stuff, but not everything's gonna fit perfectly. Same with everything for an art style or every single piece of dialogue. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's why some character designs are often, well, not the only reason, but it's usually why 3D models have symmetrical character designs.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're lazy.
Yeah. Well, no, it's because you can also visually balance it out.
Imagine
no matter
Yeah.
which way they're facing.
symmetrical, so the front and the back side both look the same.
The face is just like a giant, like 360 degrees around the head.
Oh God.
Ugh.
I mean, like,
Oh,
I
man.
remember taking like all my intro to art classes, and they're all like, "Don't do things symmetrical. It looks bad and is lazy." It's like,
Yeah.
so now every time I see like a design someone made that's like very symmetrical in like every direction, I'm just like, you didn't even try, did you?
You gave up, didn't you?
You
You
just-
coward.
you sort of get. I mean, I can see why you'd want to do that because people like how symmetrical things look. That's why you're supposed to like balance it, like visual symmetry, like
Yeah.
not like actually symmetrical.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like take this for example. Imagine a character in 2D, like in a
Mhm.
drawing for a comic or something, and they have bangs going down one side their head, right?
Mm-hmm.
You could either have it drawn so that in another panel their bangs just randomly go the other way,
I
so
do
that it's
that.
the same
There's
either
suddenly a
side.
ponytail.
Yeah. Or you could try to draw the bang from the other angle, and typically that does take a lot more effort to get right, because it can't be physically correct because it will look bad. And in a comic where you have complete visual control, you don't want every panel to look bad, right?
Well, that's why
I
you're
don't know
supposed
what
to
you're talking
You're supposed to stylize that stuff. Like
Mm-hmm.
comic, everything's not supposed to be like restrained to like actual anatomy. Every
Yeah.
you see that's like entirely atomically correct looks boring as shit because humans can't do much. Like if you ever like I was reading like some long Twitter rant about this, like we were like, stop trying to put like anatomy into comic panels because like they show all these like professional ones with like weird angles that you would not realistically be able to get, but it portrays the feeling because it's like a visual medium with dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a weird place to go if you're just asking about like the symmetry stuff, but
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
I feel like that's
I was
different.
gonna say, because that's kind of my point. Yeah, you can't you can't be on model all the time. So
Well, yeah, you're not
Something
supposed
like
to
that.
be. I wouldn't
Yeah,
say
yeah.
like be
So,
on
like,
model
something like that
forever
where you
'cause it's dumb.
sorry.
Like-
I'm sorry.
No, I was gonna say you can't stay on model all the time, so that would lead you into wanting to do something like just very quickly for this one panel, try to make the image symmetrical and have her bangs go the other way, even though that's not on model.
Oh no, that's not what I meant by like symmetrical. I meant like perfectly symmetrical designs where like
Yeah,
clothing aspects are like the same across the whole thing.
yeah,
See, that's probably a good argument for why people should not always try for the hyper realistic styles of art. and
That's
stuff.
why I've never liked hyperrealism very much because it's boring.
You can see his skin
Leave my
pores.
house.
Look at those dots.
Those dots.
You can see every single hair on the back of his hand. It's
Oh,
perfect.
finally. I mean, maybe this is going. Well, this is still character design, I guess. Like when people show those like really high def renders of like the new Mario ones from like Tennis Aces, where you could like see like the fabric on Mario's glove
Oh,
or like the hairs on his mustache. That's cool because they don't make it realistic. That still doesn't look realistic, like the way they
yeah.
do like the fibers. Like they
Yeah.
it. It would
Didn't.
scary as shit if they try to make realistic Mario.
Oh god, yeah. There's images out there
You've
already,
seen
and
them.
I don't.
it's like people were trying to say like, oh, I wonder how many hairs Mario has, and it was like, it would not be enough hair to actually like look like normal hair.
Yeah, no,
you
it's,
can actually
it's,
see
it's a
if you look
texture.
if you look at close-up renders of like the Super Mario Odyssey, you can
Yeah.
actually see where there are like gaps in his hair.
It just there's no planes there. You can
He's
see
got a
right
bald
his
spot.
brain.
God, I actually saw a video. Okay, again, sorry, this is more related to what Amy just said, but it is technically character design.
Yeah, we're good.
It's like stylization and character design and whatever.
I watched a video, like a 20-minute rant that someone did about how Mario's hair in the newer games is actually like really disturbing to him. But like
I understand that.
but like he didn't phrase it in a way just like oh no, like this is I find this kind of creepy because the style doesn't match. It was just like I am actually getting physically uncomfortable and I have a phobia of Mario's
Oh yeah, I've seen that.
Have you? Good.
Yeah, isn't it like because there's actually a fear of people like seeing individual hairs.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he didn't phrase the video like that. Like he didn't clarify like, oh, I have a fear of this. He's just like, what is it about Mario's hair that makes us all run and cower in fear?
I think it's all of us.
The scariest enemy of Mario Odyssey.
No, that is pretty much like my entire thing about hyperrealism, and I guess with stylism. Because I do think it's like kind of a cop-out. It is a style to make something look like super realistic, but there's not a whole lot you can do with that.
Yeah, you have to
So
do a bit of modification to make it work.
You have to keep everything very like rigid and like exact. And if that's the tone you're going for, then I guess it works, but it's not as fun.
Hey, Detroit become human.
I wouldn't even call that like hyperrealism. I'd call it hyperrealism.
They do it like a stylized realism.
Really? I mean, yeah, I'll agree with that point, but no, I'm fine.
I think his face looks too smooth for that.
Yeah. I mean, that's his real face.
Wait, is they actually like take it
yeah,
from
all
a
the
dude
characters are like all the characters are mocapped after their actors.
Oh, really?
Yeah. That's like actually Clancy Brown's face. That's actually what's his name's face.
Maybe I should look at the style again. I just saw a picture of it and I thought it looked different.
I've seen a video or two on it.
Oh yeah, okay. You're right.
Yeah, it's like a stylized realism.
Yeah,
I mean, I do like this. I do like the style of the future, like the futuristic aspect of it, because that's heavily stylized. But like, yeah, in terms of like, it's just the people that they mocapped.
Well, I still wouldn't call this like super realistic. Who's breathing into the microphone? Alex.
What?
You're breathing into the microphone.
Am I?
Yeah, a little bit.
I did absolutely nothing different.
You just hear your breath.
Still hear
it? Yep, still hear it.
What? How? What's going on? Let me move cords around.
Okay, I'm sorry. I just want to let you know.
No, you're good. You should yell at me for this.
Okay.
Okay, how about no breath?
Okay. Hold on, I'm sorry. I found a really hilarious image and I have to show it to you.
Okay. Go ahead.
Oh no.
Oh my god.
I don't know which smile is creepier.
I think I keep looking at this image and like to think this is like hyper realism. His eyes are like too doughy. I don't know what it is about it. Like
his eyeballs are too doughy.
No, it's like I don't.
They look like cookie dough, and I want to eat them.
No.
I guess like that. The second one looks more realistic to me than like Connor's dumb face.
Yeah, well, I think that's just because the actor has a really unrealistic face. I too was surprised when I found out that there was a person that looked like that.
Okay, I was gonna like his looks like his features are a little. It still looks slightly stylized.
Yeah.
Like I don't think pure realism really like exists because even when people mocap over the faces, it still doesn't look real. It's like slightly off enough.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, it's actually
this slight dip in the uncanny valley.
I'm sorry I keep going into this for forever, but I think that's the reason why like hyperrealism can like never work, because at some point it's gonna become uncanny valley when you make something that looks better.
Yeah.
Because you'll look back on and be like, oh.
Yeah, that's kind of like how you look back on the old like PS2 games or like Lara Croft or all the Uncharted games. Like, oh, they look so realistic. Look,
box titty.
It's just like me.
Yeah.
Box titty.
I think too, it's just like not even just the models, like lighting, the different like the thousands of different shaders and lighting structures and struts that you have to pull off just to make it look like a realistic environment on top of the models.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, this game still looks like obviously stylized, so it's fine. Okay, so when Alex proposed this idea of like character design, I thought you meant like the like color and like motif and stuff.
Well, I mean, we could do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess
It's
I should
not too
have.
late.
It's not.
I mean, it kind of is, but also isn't. It's our podcast.
No, it's. I guess I don't have like any like actual examples because I didn't really want to give specific character examples unless I. But I just meant like I like the aspect of character design before you even get too deep into the personality, where like you pick a specific motif, either like of their personality or just like an object type or like a thing that exists, and you base it around that. I think the best character designs are like simplistic. I don't know. I just really hate when you see a game that's like super complex. Like if you've ever seen some stupid bullshit RPG or whatever, and they have a billion belts and like.
Yeah, I was gonna say belts.
Yeah.
The leather belts everywhere.
Yeah, hold on.
Where's the belt dress? Show him the belt dress.
The belt dress.
The Final Fantasy belt dress.
Yeah.
This seems like, I don't know, like a vivid dream of like a fashion
Fever
designer.
dream.
Yep. There
Yes.
you go. Yeah. Yep.
Why is she holding a Tails doll?
Oh, that's a Moogle. That's like the
No, it's a Tails doll now.
Tails doll. Tails.
It's going to haunt you. It's gonna haunt your nightmares now.
I really feel that's because they have the RPG problem. Like when you make an RPG, you want to make everything like hyper fantasy, like with a bunch of fluff and like all these intricate designs, and then you get so hyper busy that like it looks shitty.
Yeah.
You look back, you're like, wait, did I make a dress out of belts?
I made a dress
Was
out
I
of belt,
high?
and she's still wearing like a thigh-high legging under that. Like you can see.
Yeah, you can see her thighs. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It's so.
But, like the belts of all the men she's killed?
Wait, I've
Around her
never
legs.
I've never played that one. I don't actually know which game that's from. I'd like to think it's 9.
I mean, think about that. Either the dress she got was tailored specifically for her on her request that the front be open and filled with belts, or someone got high and made the front of a dress out of belts, and she
it's
was
10, I'm
like,
sorry.
"I need that on me right now."
I need that on my body.
I don't want to show too much leg, so I'm gonna hide my leggings behind the belts.
Belts. But I want specifically my upper left thigh to show through.
Yes. Maybe
Yeah, no,
it's
there's
just like, oh, I'm
there's
sorry.
definitely there's definitely a point to be made about the practicality, especially in fantasies. I really appreciate when character designs can understand that these are clothing that people would choose to wear. This isn't just like a design that you're drawing. It's
you
like
don't
it's
want
practical.
underwear armor?
Yeah. What, you don't want to wear a breastplate that literally shapes to your breast and nothing
Don't
else?
even talk to me about boob plates. I hate it.
That's what they are.
Female armor in video games is the worst thing I've ever seen in my life.
Sucks. God. I think even Shovel Knight has that problem.
I think it does. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, the female knight. What's her name?
Shield Knight?
Yeah. Okay.
Shield Knight, yeah.
No, it doesn't actually. She just has a plate.
Oh, okay,
That's
good.
good.
Yeah, very good.
Thank God.
But yeah, you need to make your designs practical, and that's what I strive for and like look for in things. I get so pissed off when I see a fantasy world where like the person's literally wearing a cauldron over their stomach. Like what? Why? What do you need that for?
I have to protect my belly.
That's not comfortable.
That's not how armor works.
Not
put
at
a
all.
watermelon in here.
Please.
The whole watermelon.
Just shove it all
I
in.
have to store it.
Like, okay, like for example, I can give one example of what I'm talking about.
Go
you know,
ahead.
Xenoblade 2?
Oh no.
The character Rex, I don't know anything about this game or like whatsoever, but he wears a vest and it's made out of metal.
No! I hate
What?
all the Xenoblade Chronicle 2 designs.
Okay, I see. Good.
You pointed out his vest. Are we not going to talk about whatever the hell is on his legs?
Yeah, I was going to. Yeah, he just wears.
Like,
I don't even.
Alex.
I don't know
Brian, you're
what
dying.
all this is. Yeah.
Constant die.
There we go. Oh. Am I back now?
No.
You're fine.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Sorry.
This looks like someone cut Gino in half and then started wearing him.
Look at the legs. What are they?
I don't know.
Like, those are actual 3D modeled gears, like on top of the fluff part of his upper legs, and they're held together with belts that cross his hips. And what is this?
Like, okay,
Would not keep him in.
You can give this reason, right? Like, if there's some reason, like I don't know, you have to wear this cauldron because it's a machine that is important for your job because it creates a force field, and you need to be able to do that on the run. I don't care. But like, what?
If you're a paraplegic.
Yeah, if you're paraplegic. But like, you know, somebody just designed that and they were like, oh, this totally looks cool. I told to make a game about this design and not the functionality of it.
Okay, could I just say one thing?
Yeah.
I actually disagree with you.
Really?
Really?
To an
I sense
extent.
conflict.
I don't think that designs have to be like entirely practical. I just think they have to like. I agree that the design you've provided is shitty, but I think they have to look nice and sort of like ride the balance of something that could be a thing people wear, but like they can just look cool and not be like practical. Like if it's a war game, then like yeah, it would make sense if you gave them all like actual practical armor, not like titty plate, but that's just design. But like if you're just making like adventure heroes, and I totally get like the jacket thing, like right under that I found this art where I think his design actually looks fine from this.
Okay.
Just like the colors
Yeah,
or
it's simplified.
I think you have to work a balance of like simplification and like color theory and just like influence from what you do to make it look nice. I just think designs that like have way too many motifs going on at once are bad. And bad designs don't like define a character. I've only heard good things about this game and like both of those characters. But when I look back on it and I look at all these designs, I'd be like, well, I can't make art of these characters because they're too complicated and they look stupid.
Mm-hmm. I'll say that practical doesn't mean functional in this sense. Mm-hmm. So like that design you showed, the little chibi version, that looks practical. It doesn't look like it weighs 1,000 pounds or that it's literally a brick around his upper chest.
Yeah, the first one does.
Yeah, like his actual design in game looks like.
Yeah,
the chibi one can be like leather, and it'd be like, oh, okay, this is wearable.
Yeah, that's like the line I'm talking about. Like if they simplified like the design enough to make it look like it's just clothing that's like unique and love the series, then like that's fine. But like boob plates or like the belts or whatever.
Yeah.
Boob belts?
I just
boob belts. Oh god,
belts, that's also a thing I've seen. No,
yeah.
I've seen it. I just think a lot of character designers, especially for like fantasy, they're just like, oh, let's choose like a bunch of motifs and just like, I don't know, cool shit and just like put it in there and it's fine.
Yeah.
And then I think like
go ahead.
I think like the gritty genre has like the same problem. They're like, oh, let's put them in like military gear and it's fine. Or let's just throw a bunch of useless shit on these characters. It's fine. Players or whatever. I don't know. Just a lot of games I play are like, the designs in this are shitty, but I'll just ignore it.
Yeah. I think fantasy RPGs probably are the biggest offenders of that.
Oh, absolutely. I have a lot of problems with the RPG genre, even though
I mean
the genres.
I mean, because it's you give the designer free reign to literally go against everything you would think of as or anything you would take for granted in clothing. Because this is a fantasy world, they could have had a completely different fashion sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, and then character design doesn't always mean like humans also, which I think.
Yeah.
I think when fantasy just limits itself to like weird costumes on humans, that's lazy. A lot of the best character designs are just things that are like pseudo-human or like not human at all. Like, what did you send me? What is this?
Just another example. I love the massive crowns.
Oh, I kind of like that actually. I think it's neat.
It's so insane.
I don't think it's practical for anything, but it's
Yeah,
nicer
it's
on
a
the eyes
crown.
than all those bright blues and shits, because the
Yeah.
purple's nice.
Crowns aren't supposed to be practical.
Yeah, whatever,
Mhm.
it's fine.
I love the tit window too.
Oh yeah, everyone loves a good titty window.
Mm-hmm.
What was I saying?
Sorry.
No, that was a genuine question. Do you remember?
Non-human designs.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
To say, I've always liked the enemies in like Mario more than Mario's design, because they put more thought into that than just in like, here's a human in a costume. Then you have to be like, okay, here's these like weird animal hybrid things that we put together. Like those
Here's
Wait,
a
what?
walking turd.
Wait, Mario
Don't
versus
kill it.
who?
Mario versus the enemies in Mario. Like,
Oh, okay.
I think all the
Okay, yeah,
aspects in that are better. And it's very easy to make like a really complex animal design that looks shitty. I've seen it all the time with like animal partners that just look cute. I'm just it's like, but I think it's like, I think we need more games where they're like stylized to a degree of things are just like not human. Like I was really happy when Splatoon came out and it was like a shooter, but it was like really brightly lit and like, look, they're squids and they have cool clothes.
Mhm.
And they kill
Like-
each other with paint.
Yeah, it's like that's like super stylized, and I kind of wish that more things would go in that direction than like
Yeah.
something that already exists.
Mhm.
Kind of like how Plants vs. Zombies did the garden warfare thing.
Yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, I love the
Yeah,
style
yeah.
of that game too. It's like bouncy. It's like
Mhm.
happy zombie game. Yay!
Mhm. Oh, dang it.
What?
No, I
Oh
have
my
a, I
god! What
just
did you
thought
just
of a
say,
really good
Alex?
example. Alex, what is this? Oh
Did you
god,
hear the
yeah.
operators for Rainbow Six
Yep.
Siege?
I could
Yeah.
not tell you any of
Designs
these
you don't
characters from each
enjoy.
other.
I say I've watched my friend play Rainbow Six Siege, and I looked at all the characters, and I'm like, I hate all of them. Thank you.
Yeah, you can't tell them apart.
No.
But that
Not
doesn't matter. You're
visually.
just picking a persona. Like
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
like they're
Where's
like
my
so
Team
unpersonal.
Fortress?
My Team Fortress. Yeah, that's another good shooter with a lot of good designs. I appreciate
Yeah.
this role.
Everyone's like vastly unique. You can't mistake any two characters.
I think that's why a lot of people like games like Borderlands or Team Fortress or Overwatch, even if they don't realize it, because like objectively the gameplay mechanics are probably similar if like it's a shooter and like your goals are like kill the
Mhm.
team or whatever. But when they give them actual character and like design that stands out, even if you're not like aware of it, you're gonna remember that more and like it more than whatever the hell this shit is. Rainbow.
Yeah.
Yeah. It stands out more.
Siege is a good game, but I can understand why characters don't stand out a whole lot.
Yeah, like you can like the gameplay, but I feel like a lot of people relate more to like personal like designs or whatever, where you get attached to like an actual unit you're playing as instead of just like a series of input commands.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's fair.
Mhm.
The only
That's why-
problem is that I think the reason why they kind of go with the same like style for most of the characters for like a lot of the first person shooter stuff, especially nowadays, is just because it's not about the characters at that point.
Yeah.
It's more about gameplay. It just kind of helps focus it on the gameplay.
Yeah.
But
I
it
think
is very
that's a-
uncreative.
I think that's a problem though. I think more game creators should like not be afraid of like a story element, or at least like a sort of implied story element to just having characters look super different. You don't even have to do anything with it. Just like make them look interesting.
Interesting, yeah.
It's
If,
sort
if,
of-
if you enjoy looking at the character, there you go.
I hate that we could talk about Fortnite right now.
I was
don't.
I was actually gonna bring that up, that like Fortnite seemed
Oh no.
to do this.
Yeah, it had a
Oh.
storyline, like with the
Does
meteorite
it?
falling, and
What?
like, I know there's a storyline for like the zombies portion, which you actually have to pay money for, and no one cares about. But like the actual like battle royale mode had a story for a while with like a rocket launching, a meteorite falling, areas of the map actually getting destroyed for a limited amount of time.
See, that's fine. The problem
Mhm.
with Fortnite is if you look at
Fortnite.
these characters,
Fortnite.
this like body type wise, these are all the same height. Most of them have the same skin tone,
Oh god, this image is
Yeah.
color scheme. Like this isn't unique. Like making it
Yeah.
different people doesn't make them unique. You have to like stretch and squish that shit. You have like 2 chubby characters in your lineup.
What? Why is the
Do.
giant beefy lumberjack dude exactly the same height as the thin like The super thin, like dyed hair. Oh, I want to call her lesbian because she looks like that. I'm sorry.
Oh god.
I mean,
But
yes.
why are they the exact same height?
Hair.
Yeah,
They're all the same height. Like
they all are. I know, but like specifically, why would those two characters completely just opposite ends of the spectrum?
Why does his face look exactly like one of the Dream Daddy ones? He's got
get on it.
That's such a generic looking like nice guy lumberjack face with like they even reddened the nose and they like
wow,
like so generic, like,
almost Santa Claus like. The blonde ninja third from the right just looks like Mercy from Overwatch.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there has to be a lot of redeeming qualities to Fortnite to have everyone like it, and it's probably the gameplay. But like stylization wise, I think it looks like shit because you can tell they tried up to a point and then they stopped trying.
Yeah.
They did enough to make it seem like they put in the effort, but they didn't.
I like that somehow, because all the other characters' colors are muted, the girl with the bright pink hair and the blue bandana kind of stands out more, but it's still so muted that it doesn't.
Oh yeah. And I know there's like a lot of costumes you can put on them, but like that still doesn't like no.
If you want good designs, you can put costumes on. Look at the Ace Attorney series.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Or Odyssey, come on.
Or Odyssey, yes, of course. Mario.
I found one dark-skinned character, but the lighting on him is so intense that he sort of looks like the same skin tone as everyone else.
Oh, no, I hate that. I know you can get... Of course, I know that there are light-skinned people like that, right? Or sorry, mocha-skinned people like that. But just like, make him dark. Stop, like... Because you know the people who made this, there's like a white dude up in like some studio in California. It's just like, I need a black character, but how black should I make them? I don't want to make them too black.
We don't want to drive away our 12-year-old white child fan base.
Exactly.
And Ninja on Twitch.
Just go all the way, damn it.
I don't like how you said the word black.
What?
I ain't American. I don't have to.
That's probably my problem with like most of like the design elements of like the video game industry. Like all the popular things, it just sort of meshes together into one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Oh, that's the ninja. Oh, in the middle of the last pick, that's him.
Wait, really?
I think so.
Yeah.
I thought
he has the same belt around his chest. Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Either that or they're all really tan.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of sad if so.
It is. He's got the same face shape too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Dang, that's hilarious.
It's based on a real person and it still looks generic. There you go.
No, I will say that this is good character design. I could see a concept artist like spending like a good long while making sure like all the features are there so they all stand out separately.
Like individually, all the ones on this screen look different enough and nice, but when you put them all next to each other, they look.
It helps that there's different costumes for these guys too.
Yeah.
Because it's the same people if you scroll up.
Mm-hmm.
We got the lumberjack, the Asian.
The lumberjack, the Asian.
It's tropes. It's just tropes.
Again, I think that's just because like they're all exactly the same height. Like there's no like height difference. No one's tall and lanky. No one's short and fat or short and skinny. Like
and then you look at like the Overwatch.
The same height.
You look at the Overwatch characters and you see like Torbjorn, who's like 2 feet tall.
Yeah.
They got like a hamster and like a big mech. Like
the whole point of that game,
but it was unique, so I'll give them that.
Yeah. Well, the whole point of that game though is like using these different like these character differences and like using it to an advantage for like game balance.
Yeah.
But Fortnite, everything has to be equal, otherwise people will not be happy.
Yeah.
I mean,
you can't have different hitboxes for the different characters, or people will get.
But like, then what's the point of having different characters? Make one character you customize.
I mean, yeah, but that's a lot more effort.
Yeah, exactly. So they're making like a bunch of identical hitboxes that look slightly different. I mean, yeah, that just lazy. It's just laziness in the game industry.
I mean, I guess with a game like Fortnite, because it doesn't matter. There's no need to make unique, memorable characters. It's just a face that the person wants to use.
And that's
it's not like you look at it the whole time. It's
that's
you're looking at the back of the head the whole time.
Yeah. Like, I know, like, most people don't even give a shit about this. shit about this because I'm an artist and like I own
Yeah.
literally everything. To, like the point where like I'll go and I'll watch a 3D movie because I like the animation style before I think about like that's why I saw Moana. Like I didn't really know anything about the plot before I got there. I'm like, hell yeah, look at that.
Delicious water.
It's like yes. Like
Yes.
The poster for that, the like cardboard poster for that. Oh man.
Oh man.
By that, still working at the movie theater.
I'm just like that guy who like just cares way more about like the stylization and the animation and like the lighting and the overall tone more than like the actual gameplay most of the time because I see it as an art form and not just like a fun thing you do.
Mm-hmm.
A thing children do and adults make fun of and say that it's creating mass murders. Like I'd like to respect this genre of creativity to an extent. But most people don't care as much as I do, so it's not like a big deal. It just annoys me.
So are we talking about the design of the girls from Doki Doki Panic Night or Doki Doki Literature Club next?
I feel like that was done on purpose.
Yes, the anime. Yeah, of course it was done on purpose.
It was done on purpose, but they don't really like. That's the thing about like, satire in a video game. You can do it and very obviously make it be like, hey, look, I'm doing this because the entire rest of the genre does it. But then they don't like talk about it.
Yeah, they don't bring it up and actually, parody it or anything.
They don't poke fun at the fact that like they all have the same general shade of skin and face shape, and you can just like overlay them on top of each other, and they'd all pretty look the same.
I mean, I think with a game like that, you don't have to talk about it because literally the point was that it looks like every other game. The fact that you downloaded the game and wanted to play it for that reason is enough for that.
No, that's why I usually give that one a pass style-wise. I just things have that problem. They're like, oh look, I'm doing a parody, and then they're like, we're not gonna do anything interesting with this. It's just it's a parody. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like all the movie, like the TV show or movie games that look just like every other 3D platformer, but do nothing different.
Yep.
God, yeah. I was gonna say the one thing I hate about Doki Doki Literature Club is the fact that their jackets don't connect properly.
Oh yeah.
And I know it was on purpose, but like, why do people draw jackets like that?
Sorry,
you can't have the buttons on the other side of the cloth. They don't connect to anything.
Sorry.
See, Braun is the practical one. Amy is the one who like focuses on the design and like uniqueness of it.
You're right, actually.
Yeah.
It's very scientifically minded. I'm more like
they look good.
Yeah.
I like it.
I like colors.
I like the colors too. I try to theme, like whenever I'm designing characters, I try to design them around at least 2 to 3 base colors.
Yeah, that's what they tell you to do. When I was in my 2-dimensional design class, they were like, pick like 1 or 2 motifs and take it from there and don't.
There, yeah.
They usually tell you to work in groups of 3s with like everything. Because when you do it once or twice, it doesn't look deliberate, but if you do it a 3rd time, they're like, oh, there you go. So there's a
rule of 3s.
You did it on purpose, probably.
Probably. Wasn't just a mistake.
Rules of 3s and everything. Yeah.
Yes.
Like, how for rules of 3? As a non-artist who is very confused at the concept of art.
Is that a serious question? What is the rule of 3s?
Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Amy can probably answer better. Okay. Yeah, go right ahead.
The rule of 3s, I heard it the first time as a photography term, where you like, when you take a picture, you split the camera into like a grid of 9 squares, and it's like in thirds, like across the thing. And you're supposed to balance like an image, like either in like the first third or like the second third across those lines to make like a decent composition. I don't know if that makes sense unless you look at it.
That kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah.
You just like imagine like a square grid that looks like tic-tac-toe or whatever, and you're supposed to just like, I don't know, like the top of someone's head should be like against one line, or they should be like angled there.
Yeah, or like if you're taking a picture of the sun, then setting over the horizon, then the horizon should be on the second line. Or...
Yeah, like on like a specific line. And then like art, what they mean is like if you're just designing something and you have like a concept, say you have like a round object and you want to like stick something off of it. If you stick it off once or twice, it looks like a mistake. If you do it in 3s, then the person's like, okay, that was deliberate. And like 3 is like a nice rounded number that I guess just humans think in 3s. So
Yeah.
a three-dimensional design class, we'd make all these sculptures, and the teacher would be like, "Okay, I see that thing like groups 3 times. That means you did it deliberately."
Yeah.
Interesting.
The psychology of the thing is that, literally just the human mind, for some reason that we can't exactly fully explain, just seems to enjoy things in threes. Even comedies has a rule of threes.
Yeah, the
Oh,
comedic
yeah.
rule of threes, where you set something up, you like establish it once, you bring it up a second time, and then you hit it off with the punchline. There's brought up the image.
Yeah. There. Yeah, that's a good example of it.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You can set like most professionally done photos up against that grid, and something will hit one of those lines usually.
Yeah, you typically the focus of the image. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like the rule of like foreground and background too. Like you blur the thing in the back, then you bring the other thing into focus. And blah, blah, blah.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, that's the
Now I
rule
know.
of threes. It's weird. There you go.
This is the rule of
And
threes
that-
in art, and then there's like a whole
Yeah.
bunch of other rules of threes.
Yeah. No, literally, the rule of three is basically just in everything. It's like restaurants design their decor around the rule of threes. You'll see
Yeah, there's
three
like-
paintings in a
Weird.
row.
There's
That's
like a
why Goldilocks is such a satisfying like childhood story.
Yeah, and there's like a rule of threes in writing where you have the opening and you have the middle and you have the end, and there's a rule
And exactly.
where you can survive like 3 minutes without air, 3 hours without, or 3 days without water, and 3 weeks without food, I think,
Yeah.
and 3 hours without shelter.
Where's
I feel like that's.
666?
I feel like yeah. As if or 6. Oh my god! I can just
the
imagine
rule of sixes.
someone would put that together.
3 sixes.
No. No, I feel I should just clarify for anyone listening, we are not professionals in food or health. Do not listen to us about going 3 days without food.
No, do
I'm
it.
not even a professional of art. I just
Yeah.
in the art program where they brought up the rule of threes like 20 times the first day. They're like, now remember.
Now remember, kids.
Please.
Yeah.
I mean, I've known that since like middle school, like whatever. Rule of threes. People just like threes.
Yeah.
Fun.
It's the design of concepts.
The design of concept.
I
So
feel like we're gonna have to rename the title of this to like Alex accidentally does talking about characters and then realizes that everyone else wanted to do something else.
We're just talking about general design.
I like
Yeah,
this a
like-
lot more though, I'll be honest.
If I have an example I can bring up, I guess.
sure.
Do it.
I was trying to think of something actually while you guys were talking. I could talk about Portal for a bit because I love the designs
Go ahead.
in Valve's Portal.
I agree.
I guess I'll specifically talk about GLaDOS because she's had 2 designs.
Oh really?
Throughout the games, or between the first and the second game.
Oh, okay.
I think it's like pretty well known, at least among like people who have played the games. But
Or a game at all. Portal's pretty
A
well
game.
known.
yeah, I mean, you've probably seen this on like top 10 lists of like freaky video game coincidences or things like that.
Conspiracy.
But yeah, GLaDOS's original design for Portal 1 was designed to look like a woman, specifically a woman in bondage.
Oh.
Yeah, I'll
Oh
show
god,
you.
I think I've seen images of that.
I'll show you an upside down
Yeah.
image of her because you can see it a bit more easily. But like the whole concept of her character was that it was supposed to be like a sort of silent nod to the fact that she was a woman, both her femininity and the fact that she was trapped with her job there. And it's something that slowly bled into her character So I guess it's sort of reverse character design, where the design leads into the personality of the character.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the first game, it was more just to give like a really creepy edge. The fact that she looks humanoid and like she's hanging like from the ceiling and swinging about and thrashing almost as if in pain when you're battling her.
Oh.
And I think she was like specifically based off of like some painting like of like Venus, the woman in the seashell.
Oh, and the seashell, yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that the like light on her eye was based on like Space Odyssey, whatever that movie's called.
2001: A Space Odyssey.
Yeah, that one.
How?
Oh, like HAL
HAL,
9000. Yeah, probably. Yeah, like definitely. Like one like single light for an eye is definitely like an indicator of just
Yeah.
roboticness.
Sorry. I can't do that.
Yeah,
'Cause
I'm
I
sorry,
know-
Dave. I can't do that for you.
I know Tech was originally based on that too, because his eye used to be red instead of blue.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
from Paper Mario. Yeah,
Yeah.
Tech. Yeah.
It's a very like obvious motif
Like,
for a lot
nod
of
to it.
robot characters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because
But-
Hal was so iconic. I mean, if you want an example of character design that's superbly simplistic and superbly like works really, really well, then yeah, Hal's a very good one. The iconic red eye.
yeah, like movie and
but,
TV bleeds a lot together with the whole design stuff.
Yeah,
it's true.
yeah, exactly.
A lot of them inspire each other.
Yeah.
Did I say movies and TV? I meant movies and video games.
I mean, it's the same thing pretty much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
whatever.
honestly, media works together.
Visual mediums, yay.
Yeah, yay.
So what was the coincidence with GLaDOS? Was it just the fact she looked like a lady, or?
Yeah,
There
yeah,
must
no,
have been
like I was saying.
purpose.
Yeah, it was definitely on purpose. It was designed like that.
Yeah,
I
it
was
looks
just
like
saying
it's on
you probably
purpose.
find it on lists like that.
Oh yeah, I've seen.
There you go.
Oh.
There's someone's image for it.
Bad image.
Yeah.
That's
Oof.
weird that people would be like, it's a creepy coincidence. Like, no, that's very obviously
Obviously, yeah, yeah.
cases.
Like that's. Oh my god, that's funny. I just noticed an extra part of that. Like the bandage over the mouth is supposed to be
Oh.
like her headset. Or it looks like a headset on her head, because if you take the position of the eye to be her face, then her ears, quote unquote, has a little band that wraps around her head, and that's supposed to be the gag in the mouth. Ugh, that's freaky.
I think it's interesting.
Yeah, no, I love
It's
it. I love
good
it a lot.
design.
It is.
Good job.
And then in when Portal 2 came around, I don't know specifically why they decided to redesign her. But it was a story point in the game, the fact that GLaDOS was so damaged that she decided to rebuild herself.
Mm.
And with this one, she like tells you herself that she made herself better, so she got rid of all the humans' design qualities of it. So she looks a lot less like a human, more, I guess, serpentine would be one way to describe it.
Yeah, that
fun.
seems fitting.
Yeah. I think specifically the design, like for just the black and white instead of blue and gray, the black and white was meant to invoke the concept of early computers. And I think one of the dev comments said that she was supposed to look like an airplane,
Meow.
like a giant airplane hanging from the ceiling.
The old jet.
Yeah, yeah. But like the whole concept in Portal was with the white and black.
Yeah, a
like,
lot of the
very
panels.
clean. What's the word I'm looking for? Sanitary design.
Despite the fact that like most of the levels are like overgrown and
Yeah, very
covered
gritty
in
and dirty.
mud.
That's actually another, like, no, it's not character design, but like
Well, it's just like
visually,
game design, like
Game
visual,
design,
yeah.
visually you can see as she rebuilds the facility, you go from areas of like hyper overgrowth to like test chambers that are just like perfectly like remade and redone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, I like. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, I think the reason why I like color theory so much and just like visual media is because the colors usually are to invoke some kind of emotion. So when you said like the theme of Portal 2 was like the blacks and the whites and like how pristine it was, like is part of that like morality base? Like you have to make any kind of decisions like that? Because
Yeah.
usually when people like incorporate a lot of like very harsh blacks and whites into things, it's because they're talking about like some kind of decision or black and white morality.
The concept of black and white morality. Yeah.
Or like something purely like good against something purely evil or something like that. Just like
I'd like to think so, you know. I don't fully know. I'd like to think so. I think they're just like really flat colors that help the orange and the blue theming stand out a bit more.
Yeah, white and black just looks sleek too. That could also be it, but
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
this
don't
game
know. I
doesn't-
do like to think that because all the robots that want to murder you are white and black.
yeah.
I mean, all the robots are that color though.
yeah, everything's that color.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then Wheatley is the only one who's different because the corrupted cores as well, because they remain broken and dirty.
Mm.
Yeah.
They're still white and black.
Well, Wheatley actually becomes gray. You can actually see it. Yeah.
Yeah, that would probably be
Yeah.
an aspect of like
Yeah.
cool storytelling where they don't
Mm-hmm.
say it because they don't
Or
for a child.
Yeah. Yeah, but you can see like the difference between even with the first game and the second game. Again, this is weird to talk about because a lot of the designs were changed like visually, where like the black like metal design of the non-portable surfaces became just like dark gray cement. So you can't really compare the two games without taking that grain of salt. Like the whole design concept changed between the two games. But you can compare the cores in Portal 1, which were really simple round balls with just it was completely stark white. Nothing was wrong with them, and one giant like eyeball.
Yeah.
And then the cores in Portal 2, which had all these like moving parts, and all of them that you saw were all like very broken, grayed out, covered in dirt and dust and stuff. And they were all to your aid, while the ones in the first game were all enemies that you had to kill.
Yeah, that might be sort of a thing, like both with color theory and the fact that like since they incorporate all these like, varied natural elements of like the overgrowth and the dirt, it's like elements of like an outside world compared to like sleek perfection of wherever you're.
Yeah, the inside world of Aperture. Yeah, wherever shit.
Whatever shit. I played like part of Portal 2 with you, but I never got around to doing like.
Oh, you never played the whole game?
No, you played co-op with me, and then you broke it immediately.
Sorry,
oh, yeah,
I broke the tutorial somehow. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah.
I have Portal 1 somewhere, and I need to play that.
I got both of them in a bundle on Steam at some point.
Ooh.
Okay, I only have 2. Never mind, I lied.
Oh,
I'm a
get
horrible
them both.
person.
Play them both.
See, I need to play more video games. I have a lot I haven't touched.
That's move.
Because I don't want to sit there and just like waste time playing a game. I guess I like doing it while streaming, so I feel like I'm accomplishing something. Most of the games I own would be very boring to stream. So.
Yeah, that might be fair. I like the concept that you can't play games just for fun anymore.
Nah.
How could I? How dare I?
Why would I do that?
I think I've always been like that, unless something just comes out and I sit there for like a bunch of hours and just play it until it's over. I'm an adult and I have to go to college in a week again. And
Oh boy.
Things to do.
Who needs to do things? You can just sleep all the time.
Play video games.
Forget them all.
Forever.
Always. Please. Well, this was a good conversation we had.
Yes.
I just heard a weird noise, and I think it was my own body, but I can't. Okay.
That's so relatable. Your stomach just
sounded like it came from outside the room.
Like your stomach gargles weirdly at you, and you're like, "What?"
Stop.
Like,
I've
oh,
done nothing to you.
that's me.
Please, I've been treating you right.
That's no.
Yeah, you haven't been eating at all.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
So how long have we been going for?
I feel like it's not very long.
it says about an hour and 30 minutes, but I think we were talking about the eye drop thing for like 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
Yikes.
Does anyone have anything else to share with the class?
Yes, miss.
I brought my DS today.
Oh, yeah.
Hell.
Good.
Actually, can I?
To a
can I talk about-
podcast that you can't show things on.
Yeah. For a DS that I don't have.
Ooh, forget rip. Can
Or
I
have
have
one
the difference
that's
between
upstairs.
like 8-bit art design and like everything else?
Okay.
Just because I feel like a lot of indie designers rely on like 8-bit
Pixel art.
pixel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that never
Yeah.
looks bad unless you make it bad to begin with. Don't go
Yeah.
play like a pixel art game. You're like, ew, this is ugly. You're just like, look, it's style. Yay.
It's another
Yeah.
one.
But if you go back and play something that's like 3D models, it almost always looked ugly.
Yeah. It's very hard. It's a lot more effort.
It's because you're always seeing pixels from one angle, so that it doesn't like mess it. It's like what Braun was saying earlier. It's like, have you ever designed something where it like looks good at one angle and you turn around, it looks really bad?
It's very bad. Yeah.
People
With
use
3D.
pixels because it like
Yeah, with
fixes your eye
3D,
on
you have
only the good
far
part.
less control. Yeah, with 3D models, you have far less control over everything about the design.
And I've
Well, that's
always
where interesting 3D modeling comes in. Like, have you guys ever heard of the game Jazz Punk?
No.
Jazz punk, no.
Oh, I gotta find an image of this because the characters of the game, it's literally just like, you know how there's like the signs on the restroom for the men and women?
Oh, I've seen this.
Yeah, it's that for the models.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yes, I think I've seen this.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a nice style. And it's one of those games where no matter what angle you look at it from, it's not going to look much.
Oh yeah, stylized 3D tends to look good.
Good. Yeah.
I'm not gonna say a lot, just like most of the time. Like if you're not making it looks realistic, you're just making a bunch of shapes, and you're just like, three-dimensional shapes, and you go back and you're like, okay, well, this still looks good.
Mm-hmm.
But I think a lot of people, like especially indie designers, choose 2D because it feels easier, I guess.
It's more accessible. You can literally open Paint and make 2D art.
Yeah, but it's hard to make 3D art. But that's
talking to Ben, a game design German friend who's pretty cool. He does all of his own art mostly, just because he does a lot of pixel art stuff. It all looks really nice, and I think he also does it because it's a lot more approachable than having the hire a bunch of artists, because he's familiar with pixel art and he only recently got into like some of like normal 2D art, like the default drawing style, I guess.
The animes.
The style. But yeah, just
animes.
It seems like a lot of indies go there just because it's a lot more approachable than anything else and a good starting point.
That's why my opinion on like pixel art sort of changes, because I do like pixel art a lot more than a lot of art styles, but since it's the kind of thing that's so accessible, you can tell when someone's using it as a cop-out.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it can look bad if you don't actually put effort into it.
You can also put, like, too much effort into it. Like, you see a lot of, like, indie games that, like, aren't good, but they're all made with, like, pixel art.
They are good.
Yeah.
Look at this thing I can do. Like, woohoo! And it's like,
Yeah, that's great. I say, you get a lot of issues where they reuse assets, like RPG makers.
Yeah. I like RPG Maker. Reusing assets is a problem in 3D, too, depending on where you get your assets from.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. I personally don't. I mean, okay, I've never designed a game, and I've certainly never done anything in a 3D program. But I really feel like if you just take an asset from somewhere else and don't do anything else with it, that's like you're never ever going to get a cohesive art style out of that.
Oh yeah.
No, you're right. You're just right.
As a person who's made a game, especially from all stolen 3D assets, it's bad.
Oh god.
I feel like there would be a way to make that good if you do it in like self-consciously, like you take a bunch of assets like that Ben Foddy's Getting Over It game or whatever, Bennett Foddy, I think.
Yeah.
Everything's very obviously stolen assets and it looks weird, but that's not like the point. If you're doing it in a way that makes fun of it, then I think that could be interesting. Like
that's true.
Like a means to an end. You can make the art style anything. You can make your art style look like shit, but as long as there's a point for it looking like that, then it in my opinion.
Yeah.
And that's why a lot of
game look bad because it's easy.
It's a comment.
I think that's why a lot of like very overly detailed styles bother me, because you can tell there wasn't a point in doing that. Just the fact that like this is the genre, we're gonna make it look like this.
Yeah, they could, so they did.
It's like with they just thought about like the actual gameplay. A lot of game designers seem to just think about like the gameplay. Or like gamers are like, this is a video game, I'm controlling it, I'm thinking about the controls. I don't think about like the stylization or like the writing that goes into it, or like the art and the lighting and the implications of like visual media.
Yeah. A lot of people take it for granted.
Yeah.
I do.
No, Alex, stop.
Stop.
You guys have been talking about all this stuff. I'm like, you guys notice a lot more about game design than I do. I think about game mechanics, and that's like, okay, I got to think about what makes people interested, what pushes people forward, all the like psychological aspects of all that. And you guys go into like the deep, meaningful aspects of everything and what it like emotionally means. I'm like, I don't care. Normally.
Yeah, I
like,
think
if I'm playing a game, but
will this get my player to walk forward? No? Okay, I don't give a shit.
Yes, no. End of conversation.
It's important, and like working with you guys on games at some point, I know it's going to be very helpful. I know that's not something I would normally like pay a lot of attention to.
Yeah, I think that's why it's better to work in like smaller teams rather than just like literally every like one person is doing everything, because you're gonna overlook stuff like that. And it's fun to think about like the gameplay aspects particularly because you're the game design guy. You're supposed to think about it at that angle. We're about this. That's kind of to be way too into color and shit.
If we're bad at that, then
then I have nothing.
Yeah, we don't have a job.
I don't like. I don't know if Braun ever thinks about this, but something I usually think about a lot in terms of like character design and stuff is also like that's not a word that I was just gonna say, like being inclusive, I guess. Whenever I play a game,
inclusivity,
like there's no female characters or they're all big titty or it's like everyone the same height and like tone or whatever, then I'm just like, this feels weird. Especially like a lady, if I ever play a game and like the only women are like the very obvious sex trophies, I kind of left out. And I know a lot quicker.
No, I absolutely get that. Actually, I have something. I have something to say about that.
Go ahead.
I'm a little bit of a hypocrite when it comes to that. I try to not let this occur, but I get really upset when I see art of characters if I feel like they included that extra person just to include them. Like, if there's a token black character, then I hate that, right?
Yes, that's a very obvious problem. So
exactly, that's a more obvious example of it. But like, if I see someone with red hair in like a bunch of characters that have nothing to do with red hair or anything of the sort, I take that into my head and I'm just like, why would you do that? I get it, but like, don't. Give it purpose, give it meaning, because you can be inclusive, but you can also just be cheap about that. Yeah. And if you don't give it a good reason, like anything at all, just say like they're a character from overseas and not just your self-insert that you gave them that random hair color from.
It's my OC. I wanted him in the game.
Yeah. But at the same time, but at the same time, I also do that quite a lot. I have 3 characters. One of them's a woman, one of them's a male boy, and the other one's like an adult, like African American. And like I did that specifically to round it out.
I mean, like that's fine. I fully agree with you, but like because when people do things for the sake of being inclusive and not like put any thought into it, that's actually just as sexist or racist as not doing it, because you're catering to your audience and you don't care. If you go into something being like, I'm gonna have X amount of how many, like a character with this trait and X amount with this trait, that's fine as long as you eventually come up with the reason
for it. Yes.
Even if you don't, just like make it feel like it fits. Like your 3 characters, I feel like they fit because they all have like the same style working with them, and because
and they all have a reason
child. A woman, a child, and a large black man are things that you like. Does it feel weird? That doesn't get you so hard.
I don't know why that a woman, a child, and a black man. It sounds like the start of a really bad joke.
Oh no.
No, but you're right. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Alex. I was talking over you. What were you gonna say?
No. I was just gonna say that like, and your 3 characters, Bron. I don't know about the black man. I haven't heard of this one yet.
He's my favorite.
I haven't shown you. I'm sorry. I haven't drawn him in a while.
I know that the other 2, like the way that you have them designed, like who they are as a character is also very important to who they are as like visually as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So there's still reason behind it. But it was just like, oh yeah, I had this dude, I made this character. I was supposed to be like a generic shooter dude, but I'm gonna add boobs to him.
Gotta have the boobs. Yeah. Or like specifically just like, oh, I need a love interest. Oh, we better make it a woman then.
Yeah.
We don't have any other woman.
It's like, let's put a woman in, but like not establish who she is very well. I feel like that's also an aspect of design to just like put characters in for the sake of inclusivity because they could have been like literally anything else. I think not to piss more people
the character's
off.
love interest could have been Rubber Ducky.
It's the sexy lamp rule. That's literally what they call that. Like, if your female character could be replaced with a sexy lamp, then you wrote them wrong.
Yeah.
I think that's a movie term, actually. But
I actually really like that idea. I want to write that down.
It's great. I would say, not to piss a lot of people off, but a platform that has problems with this is Tumblr, because they established the fact that, like, racism is bad, sexism is bad, let's put more LGBT characters in. But they're so one-track minded in that they don't know how to make it work, so they just make everything inclusive. It feels pandery and wrong, and like they're not thinking about it. So when something is like different than that, they just like yell at it.
Yeah.
It's like written well. Like a lot, I don't know, it's either people are like on the one end of the spectrum, they're like, women are owning video games, we can't put women with characters, feminists are winning. Or people are on the other end of the spectrum like, it's not inclusive enough, and there's no one in the middle to be like, hey, story matters.
Yeah.
Like, without making it like super inclusive, it's fine.
Yeah, again, this is hypocritical of me to say, because I absolutely do this, but I always feel like the story should come first. The stories and the characters should come first. The design should come based off of that.
Yeah.
And I say I'm hypocritical because I'm a character designer, so like design the characters, and then I'm like, well, what can I do with these?
See, what I usually do is I come up with like an outline for something, and then I'll come up with character designs, and then I'll work them into it, or I'll design the character, then think of their powers afterward, or change it when I come up with like personal elements.
Yeah, that's what I do a lot.
Yeah, because part of character design is that you remake them a bunch.
Yeah, that's me. I need to stop.
No, it's good. You shouldn't stop. You're doing it correctly. Yeah.
Just forever change the designs.
Moral of the story is video games is art.
Yeah,
anyone who
gotta do it right. Just do what feels good.
Put them to death.
Murder them all.
I still don't understand how people don't they won't accept that.
Yeah. The video games are an art form. It's shit.
No,
unprofessional.
So unprofessional. You left your phone on. How could
you? Okay, I'm sorry. It's the
Did you actually?
I muted it. It's because it's the landline in my room and I can't control it. I'm sorry.
The landline still.
Yeah, I live with my parents.
Yeah, I know. I still live with my parents and we don't have a landline anymore.
Well, they're old.
We killed it.
You murdered it.
I was gonna say, I don't get why people won't accept that it's an art form, because video games are movies that you control.
Yeah.
Or like
it's
a
like
book
a mix
you control,
of every single medium.
Honestly, if you can just relate to the thing, then it's an art form.
I relate to this couch.
Like carpentry is an art form. Congratulations, you proved your own point.
It is. Yeah.
Oh, crap.
Does it feel nice to sit on? That's because somebody designed it with that in mind.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Like, carpentry is an art form, advertisement's an art form, like, elation and advertisement, that's sort of an art form, it's part of it. Because, like, the way that people are, like, filmed in, like, commercials, if you've ever seen, like, a makeup commercial for women, or, like, the shavers, where they, like, shave already clean legs.
Yeah.
With, like, the lighting to persuade you. Like, that's an art form, like, the way they're trying to make you feel.
The lighting in your grocery store is an art style.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Someone designed that.
Yeah, they're designed to make it so that the fruit looks brighter and more appealing.
Yeah, exactly.
Then you get home, you're like, oh, this banana's yellow.
Yeah.
It's an art form.
What if they did that? Instead of just a white light, they just like poured green light over a bunch of yellow bananas?
That would look pretty bad, I gotta say.
Yeah.
That'd be like having up Halloween lighting like every single day.
Oh my god.
Like all his milk, it's blue today.
It's blue milk.
Oh, no.
You better hope it's not that when you get home.
We sell it from the blueberry cow.
Ew.
He seems nice. I'll accept that milk.
Like, an art form is like anything that gives you emotion, and that's like everything. So there you go.
Do you have a reaction to it? Then that's an art.
It's like when you see pictures of people in museums. Have you ever seen the picture of someone who like took their glasses off and they put it on the floor of a museum and everyone like went up and took pictures of it and they're haha, this is like, I'm saying something critical about art, and someone replied to them like, no, you made art because you made something that people had a reaction to.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Like, even if it's meaningless to you, like, you still did. Like,
yeah.
I feel like I just feel like a lot of people took pictures and are like, what the heck?
I mean, like, I went to a museum once and one of the art displays was like a lobster telephone, and I'm like, oh, that's weird. How'd they think of that? I'm gonna take a picture of it because I think it's funny looking.
And this is where your love of crabs started.
You're right. The lobster I think it was in the Dolly Museum actually when it came. When they were doing the Disney crossover. It was weird.
What?
I guess, you know what I'd
That's
say?
Dadaism.
I'd say that, what?
Just gonna throw out art terms that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
It's Dadaism because it doesn't make sense.
This telephone is postmodernism.
Excuse me, your trash can is expressionist, and
the cubism on this rug is
fantastic.
I mean, that could actually work if
yeah, I know.
Cubist design on it.
No one knows what the hell postmodernism means anyway. Just use that one for everything.
God, there's a difference between postmodernism and futurism, and like they're completely different.
I had my history of graphic design class, and they gave us like a timeline of all this shit, and I'm just looking like they're all like going at the same time, and I'm just like, what the fuck is the difference?
What?
One is slightly bluer than the other.
This is my major, and I don't know.
And then they're all revivals of older art styles.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I remember for like a history class, I think I had to do a thing where there was a list of all these different paintings, and I had to try like pinning down what like artistic movement they were from, like from the country.
No.
God. I did not do well on that.
Yeah.
None of them were like any different. Like here's one with Jesus,
and
the other one is a banana.
What?
No,
like, oh, the Jesus is postmodernism, obviously.
The thing about the artistic movements is it's usually based on how. Yeah, that's the lobster telephone. There you go.
Yay!
I love it, but like, I don't know. It's like you usually. I'm actually looking it up to see if I was right calling the lobster telephone Dadaist. I was close. It's surrealism. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, surrealism is just anything. Yeah. Sorry.
Like, Dadaism was a form of surrealism.
Oh, really?
It was close.
Yeah, so surrealism is just anything that doesn't like conform to what you'd expect. A lobster on a telephone is not what you'd expect.
Yeah.
Agree to disagree.
Yes, of course. Lobster's in its natural habitat.
You're right. A lot of the art movements aren't really about what you're looking at. It's like how they felt while doing it, because surrealism was like a period of time
and this
where
is
people
why
were like,
I hate art class.
Yes. Surrealism was like a point of time where people were like, I don't like all these things we've been doing. Because it was all being consumerized. So they're like, let's just make a bunch of shit that doesn't make any sense. And so it'll be like an expression of how art's meaningless or whatever. It's like, that's what it feels like in an art class.
As pretentious as that sounds, I would give it credit because for me, art is anything that's born out of creativity, and creativity is a very like specific thing. You either make something with the intent to be creative with it, or you don't. And I mean, at least for me, I don't follow any formal definition of art, but. For me, if you were creative in the conception of this piece, then it's a piece of art, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, because creativity implies a sense of like you want to get a reaction out of people, and which is why I said earlier that if you can react to something in a specific way, then that's art.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. The one I said is just because I can go on like a very small one last.
Oh God! Oh.
It's because we like towards the end we went over expressionism, and that was one where people just like sort of put colors on a canvas because they're like deconstruct art, but it's because no one ever did that before that ended up being an art movement. Like no one just thought to like throw colors at a thing.
Yeah, and then call it art. Yeah.
Yeah, so it means something, but it still sounds pretentious when you try to bring it up to your friends.
Yeah.
It's like a
Some of the artists that's like associated with that.
Jackson Pollock.
Yeah, Jackson Pollock paintings.
I don't know if he did the exact one I sent you, but
I don't think
that's all. That
looked like that.
Some of them were good.
Yeah. I just remember my art teacher went on a very long rant about how Jackson Pollock is not actually like super pretentious, and there was a reason why his work is revered, because no one thought to do that at the time. So
yeah, but after him, that's when
that's when
everyone was starting to be pretentious. Yeah.
Yep.
You ever see art like submitted to galleries? It's like just a white canvas and like a dot in one of the corners.
Yes.
Yeah.
I hate art.
That's like Soup was telling stories about like some of the artist projects. Like the girl who literally just painted her boobs and put them like on a canvas. It's like, really? That's not art. That's just you giving up.
Yeah, it's just people think they're being deep and anything anymore.
I loathe pretentiousness like that.
It's like
I'm the bosom of the world now.
It's like the fine line of art where it's like if you're making something to invoke an emotion, up until that point it becomes art. When you're doing it because you think whatever you do is deep and artistic, then it's not anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, if you're doing it to think that other people invoke emotions with it.
And to bring it back to the actual point of this video, I think a lot of video games do that too.
Video games,
Yeah, you'll be playing a video game with like a really melodramatic story, and it's like everything's so deep, and you're like, this is meaningless.
Yeah.
Stop.
I mean, that's why like tropes, like poor use of tropes comes from.
Yeah.
Because they think, oh, I can just use this as shorthand for what I mean, and it's gonna be so artsy and epic. Yeah.
Twisting tropes on their head. That's what's key.
Exactly. Doing something creative, because the mere concept that it's a trope means that it's been overused.
Yeah, that's the point. You're not supposed
That's like the definition of it.
Yeah.
Like, you can use tropes, but don't, like, overuse them.
Yeah. I mean, there's a trope for everything, so of course you're going to use some tropes.
Yeah.
But yeah.
They're not all bad, but...
Yeah, exactly.
This was fun. I like talking about art. I feel bad that we can
like
Alex on his own idea for a video.
No, this is a lot better than mine. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, the one thing I thought of for mine is like, oh, I want to talk about Borderlands stuff, and we could like make fun of Makoto. And that was like it.
Cardboard. Let's talk about like character now, because we were talking about design. Let's talk about like any good characters you can think
Just to wrap this up, because it was getting a little bit long. But like, throw out like actual character.
Yeah.
Well, you brought up Makoto.
The cardboard cutout
cardboard Naegi. There are a lot of people who like him, and I can understand why. And it's because they made him a blank slate on purpose, which is like a thing that a lot of people do when they're like creating their protagonists. They'll make them sort of like bland, like nice, so you can still like relate yourself to them.
Yeah, that's the whole reason why there's silent protagonists.
Yeah, I just sort of found him boring, I guess. Like,
it's weird though, because Makoto does have like definable character traits. He's shy. He's overly like cautious about his friends. He's superbly optimistic.
He's really
and those are
lucky.
all like those are all like non-offensive, which still makes him like extremely relatable.
Yeah, pretty much.
But he does have character. One of the things I loathe about him is that it's a thing in Japanese media. You see it a lot, but I've never seen it to the degree with Makoto. A character who introduces themselves as being so like nondescript and boring that they literally tell you flat out, I have no defining personality traits. I'm not even sure why I'm the main character of this game.
Yeah, that's just a bad way to start it. That they're like, I have no redeeming characteristics. I'm like, okay, well, I don't care anymore.
I guess in Japan that'd be like a good sign of humility and like you're humble, but like that's just no.
Like he was just supposed to be like
fails.
He was supposed to be the everyman in a school full of people who were like supremely talented, and that's why you would relate more to him.
Yeah.
It wasn't a great way to.
No, he's just
Hinata in the second game wasn't even an ultimate, and they established that better with the fact that he didn't know that. And he's
and
he's less likable because he's like ruder, but I liked him.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that's more personality. Like the
Yeah.
fact that they immediately bring up the fact like he doesn't know what his ultimate is. He's kind of pushy in certain situations. That's
Sets him
more
apart.
relatable than a blank slate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've never really liked the trope of like the blank slate protagonist. I think it is sort of a lazy way to get you to like a character very quickly. Just yourself to them. I like it.
Mario.
Yeah, when they give you a protagonist that's either like that they like characterize very quickly as something that you probably not, or like make them unlikable.
Yeah.
Like really shitty. Like I think that's neat.
Mm-hmm. I find a lot of people do the blank slate thing because they're afraid that their character will become unlikable, and
Cowards.
to them that's yeah. It's truly that is. If you want to write a character, because even if people don't like their character, you can still like the fact that they have personality and relate to them.
Yeah, the fact they had a personality that was enough to make you not like that personality.
It's a good thing. Yeah, you can make it. You can have a story where like the asshole is the protagonist.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of those actually.
Yeah.
Sword Art
Kratos.
Yeah. Sword Art Online.
Oh God.
The dub.
The abridged.
I only know the abridged. I hope you guys realize that.
Good. No one deserves to know the actual Sword Art Online.
Yeah.
It's not good. But I think I'm gonna bring up the character I hate the most in Danganronpa, which is Byakuya. I still respect the fact that he's a bastard. I just don't like I wouldn't like a person like if I met him, and I just thought he was like annoying. And so he was still sort of one note, even though they try to make him super unlikable. Because there's objectively less likable characters in the rest of the series, but they have more character going on, so the player likes them more.
Yeah,
one reacting to their stuff.
I do like that he was dynamic in the sense that throughout the whole game he had this personality of I'm the asshole and I know everything and I'm always right, and if you don't listen to me you're wrong and not even worthy of my time. And then specifically in one of the later cases he's just like, I'm wrong. Oh my God. And he learns a little bit of humility and like learns to
never forgets it right away.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't. He still deals with the other characters. Like he understands their importance to him at least. So there is some evolution. So.
But that's the thing. Like you can compare Byakuya very strongly to Edgeworth in the first Ace Attorney. Like you meet him asshole. He thinks his ways are the best. He's like rich and arrogant and pompous, and then he learns he's wrong. But then what happens with Edgeworth is that he completely changes his personality and he realizes that he had a lot wrong with him. Byakuya sort of realizes this, but the other characters around him never really react in a way to like edge this on. They're always sort of like, oh, he's part of our friend group, even though he's kind of like the bitchy one.
Yeah.
He's still like uptight and whatever.
Honestly, I think
that worships him.
I say in that case, I think it's just because if they didn't call him a friend, they were admitting that he was probably someone who was going to murder them all.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, like the thing about him is that he was like a constant threat through the whole game.
Yeah.
Didn't really do anything with that, which was kind of a letdown.
I mean, I think honestly, if they did go through with it, I would have been let down because I mean that's just really obvious.
It's just like a double letdown. I kind of wish he was like framed for murder or murdered. I feel like that would have been a satisfying end.
Yeah, that would have been
well.
Like if he had to deal with something happening or like being beat by someone.
He probably wouldn't be beat in the end, though. That's the only issue. And then he would probably the whole time be like, "Of course I was right, duh."
But I do wish there was a case because like the first Danganronpa, they don't really do a whole lot with their characters because they're all sort of blank slate-y.
Yeah. Well, this was their first time with the formula too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't. I immediately forgot what I was gonna say.
Oops. Okay.
Something about all blank slatey.
Freaking big rip. No, I was gonna say like I would have preferred it if there was a case where like everyone thought that he did it for like the whole time and he was actually scared of that. I think they.
Oh yeah.
Because in the second case where Chihiro dies, they all blame him because he messed with the crime scene, but he never has any kind of reaction to that. Just like it's a game. It doesn't feel like he grows from the experience at all.
It's more played off. It's all played off to make him look more like an asshole.
Yeah, but his character doesn't change. He just does the same thing he's been doing the whole time, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah,
it doesn't. Sort of like that's weak.
Yeah.
It's like he doesn't even care about dying.
Yeah, and I feel like that was
that's
unrealistic. The fact that like he was so like into himself that he wasn't even slightly scared of the concept of being murdered by being
Yeah.
He's probably just in
likable
his
in there.
room the whole time, looking in a mirror like, "Wow, I'm so smart."
I am so good.
But again, that just leads into the fact that, like, if he did show any sense of like, oh no, I'm actually scared, that would be a positive point to him. And again, you can have characters that everyone hates. They're still a good character.
Yeah, like you can have like people have nuance to them.
Yeah.
Bad qualities and even like really really shitty people have like one thing that could be seen as like a good quality. Even if they don't use it for good, like if someone's like super duper evil but they have like really good talking skills to rally people behind them, that's technically a good quality.
Yeah, no one's pure black or white, so you can't just
like
good or evil.
Good evil, like please write more characters that are nuanced instead of just like here's evil McEvilson. He's evil.
Very evil.
And here's your good character. They're like they love their friends.
They're nice McFlatface. Do nothing wrong.
This is you. You're doing the thing. I think what bothers me in a lot of media is where they have like plotline problems that like sort of dip into politics, but they never go far enough to like imply that like the person playing could be at a fault for something they do like in real.
Yeah.
They always make it like very black and white because they don't want to offend anyone.
Yeah. Well, there's
it
a lot of
resolves
games.
To something.
Mm.
There's like I think Spec Ops: The Line I think is like hailed as a really good game in that aspect because the whole entire purpose of the game is to make you question all your actions.
Yeah. Oh yeah, those are really good. Like not all games have to do that, make you feel bad, but if you're gonna like touch on like sensitive topics, then like maybe do.
Yeah.
Try to represent both sides of it. Yeah.
Lazy bastards.
Because I mean that's the thing about again relating that to relatability. Real life is hard. Like no decision is going to be really like as simple as 1 or 2, right?
Yeah.
Real life is bad.
Real life.
That's why we play video games.
Exactly. We do it to escape. But like with that's what makes something interesting. We have there's intrigue in real life.
Yeah.
So I mean, if you don't have something that at least lets a person playing it be provoked by it, like at least think about it, then you're not doing anything really important.
Yeah, not really. I think I watched a good video where like someone was talking about how like in fictional media, the point of that media is so that you can like dip your toes into something that could be like really, really messed up in real life, but there's always like an out. Like if you want to portray something that's horrible, like murder or rape or like genocide, you can do it in like the context of like media, or at any point you have like the safe word to say, all right, I'm done with this and put it away.
Yeah.
Like,
and even
a lot of
the
very
fact that
strong
it's
themes with that.
Yeah, I said, and even the fact that it's fiction is also like you write something that was just as horrible as the Holocaust, and you'd have to accept that because it didn't happen. They're as long as they're not trying to make that any kind of like message about something like that being good, then there's no like, real issue there.
As long as they acknowledge that like bad things happen and you can like go into it and be like, I somewhat like enjoy this in the concept of it being fiction, but no, in real life it's bad, then like they should be like less scared about in their content, I guess. People in general. Like, that's fine.
No, I like that. That's a good way to think about the world of fiction. It's sort of an out to talk about issues, because I mean that's why a lot of fiction often have parallels to the real world. Mm-hmm. You often study things in English where they say, oh well, like this was actually a metaphor for the Great Depression or something.
You're like, I thought it was a children's book.
Oh like, yeah, nope. I thought it was just a book about mice and men. Oh no.
Most of the store isn't. I'm just thinking about the Holocaust.
Dr. Seuss actually hated Nazis, so there you go.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah.
I mean that's true actually, but
yeah,
it is. Yes, it actually is. Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't hate Nazis?
You're right. Except well, Nazis. Don't say that. Except Nazis. Yeah, there you go. Good way to end this. We're at like 2 hours now, so.
We got Great game creator studio. I can't forget that.
Would you like? Let's make a video based on all the things we've learned today.
I was gonna say let's design a character, but sure.
Yeah, that would work too.
It's just
let's make a game based on designing a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like the aspect of every game where you get like the character creator, but it's like as the whole game.
But like personality. So as the sliders are different personalities, and it's basically just massive Mad Libs.
It'd be even better if it was like a tycoon game, except you're just trying to make as many generic characters as possible.
Like pop, oh my god, it's like character creator tycoon. Like you're just a bunch of NPCs to sell to people.
Yes, oh, I love it. I think they actually use it in actual games.
You want the stereotype cranky old man? Here we go.
Yeah, just like how many cranky old men can you get? Like machines making NPCs, and you're like open them out.
Can you even copyright that? I wonder.
Cranky
like a trope?
Man? Well, no, like if you were actually going to set this up, like you were a video game company and you got so lazy with designing characters, you're like, let's make a game and have our fans design the characters for us. Would you be able to copyright like the characters and say like, okay, this is now in the public domain?
Well, I was gonna say you can write a contract that says like anything you provide to us will be in the public domain and you will not have like
right over it
since over it ever again. Like a lot of times, not to throw DeviantArt in the bus, although I love it. When you sign up for DeviantArt, there is
that's practically our second name.
There is a part in like the not the contract, the rules, I guess, or whatever, where you like do that little checkbox. It does you're allowed to use your art.
Yeah.
They bury that in there because there's a lot of cases of people who like have very popular art pieces taken from DeviantArt and then sold in real stores without their knowledge.
Yeah.
That's kind of bad.
So public domain is kind of an issue with that, like with the reality. But if you were outright like making a game like NPC creator and you're like, if you make an NPC, it'll belong to the game or it'll go in the game. A lot of people do that with like crowdsourcing a game. Like if you pay enough money, we'll let you put a character in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you could do something too where it's like you can only like create the character in a specific like section, like have like almost an in-game editor specifically for making stuff, and like everything made within that engine still legally belongs to. Like because I don't think you could steal direct designs for like Smash Bros levels and be like, oh, I'm gonna put this in my RPG.
Yeah, no, like like a lot of like the I don't know what word to use for this. Like the setup and like just like the models, I guess, not even just like there's just like the layout of things can be copyrighted because Nintendo copyrights a lot of their shit.
Yeah. So what if you made a top-down puzzle game where all the rooms were like based off of like Smash Bros, like
oh my god,
custom stages.
Oh lord.
The puzzle is how you defeat your enemies in Smash.
Yeah.
How you punch people and jump down.
It's like Saw. It's like Saw but for Smash Bros and like not as like gory as Saw. It's like
disagree there.
Let's play a game to KO your enemies. You gotta like pick an option to like which one of your enemies you'll throw off the stage first, and the ones you leave like come after you.
I love it.
You guys.
There we go. Good game.
Good game. Good job. Well, I had fun.
Well, yeah, that was a good podcast.
It was.
Do
we have to do an outro or?
Yes.
I guess.
Do one.
Okay. I didn't delay it this time. That's me.
I was. I'm not anymore, but I was.
I was the confused person who made the idea very confusing.
McNaldo's the was.
It.
I mean, are you actually going to say, or is that it?
I've been Alex, I guess.
Thanks.
Yeah, I've been Bronson.
I'm still Amy. I have open baby locks.
What? Oh. Your teardrops.
Sorry. I needed those eye drops for when I was recording my fake apology video for YouTube.com.
Put them on your face.
These
How
are
I
teardrops
accidentally-
for salty.
I accidentally faked my death in front of a bunch of child fans.
God.
Whoops. Didn't mean to do that, guys. Come on,
Whoops.
my accidental death kind of slipped. I'm sorry.
I didn't
It-
die,
it
it was
was-
just a joke.
It wasn't a prank, guys. You need to understand. Like you just.
You aren't smart enough to comprehend what I was trying to do.
It's anything but a prank. It's acting.
It was acting. I was
Someone's
just
gonna get away
acting,
with
guys.
a prank by saying that.
I'm trying to get my fans to be creative.
Yes. Oh, that's what he said.
That's what he actually said.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He
If-
said it's not a prank video, guys. I was just acting.
I was just acting out my own death. All my friends
Yeah.
say that I'm so creative that things I say could be made into movies.
Like he was justifying the fact that it wasn't an okay thing by saying like I'm so creative that I made people think I was dead.
If that
Oh my
guy's watching
God,
this
what's
video
wrong
for
with
some
this idiot?
reason, if that one vlogger is watching this for some reason, I want him to come and fight me personally.
Oh, and Alex, I should like let you know that like the video before this apology video was of some other dude like crying in front of a camera, just like we haven't heard from Ethan in 7 days. I'm getting so worried.
Call the police.
Yeah, they were actually telling people to call the police.
Jesus.
Yeah,
YouTube's a good platform, guys.
great. It
For
wasn't a
some
prank,
people.
guys.
It was-
Listen, there's a
Wasn't
few
just a
good
prank.
people out there, and then we have this big old rotten egg with a stupid green alien hat, dying laughing.
God,
Logan Paul 2020.
stop.
No.